Lippers. This is Alicia, and welcome to the third episode of Brown Liquor. We got some good things in store for you today, and as such, we have our first special guest. His name is Mr. David Lucas. We're going to give him a couple of minutes to talk about himself. I can't even do him justice today, y'all. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stop talking, and I'm gonna let the rest of the panel say hey, but everybody except for Amber. And then we're going to go ahead and let Mr. David introduce himself. Okay, so Amber already gone. Go, Shalina. She already done.
Hey, sippers, it's Shalina. Amber's back too.
Hey guys, it's Adania.
And I think I can go now. So it is me. All right. As true fashion, we're gonna start off with a poem, and I need to get to my Angelo voice. Hold on.
Yes.
Can I get drum
Bring
roll?
it to us.
Can I get drum roll?
That
was horrible. Don't ever do that again.
Let me do it, Amber.
All right. Did you hear about the rose that grew from a crack in the concrete? Oh, I messed it up. Proving nature's law is wrong. It learned to walk without having feet. Funny it seems, but by keeping its dreams, it learned to breathe fresh air. Long live the rose that grew from the concrete. Oh, hold on. Can I start over? I missed.
You kind of need to start over because you had a lot of mishaps in between.
Yeah, just start from the beginning because you really not doing Tupac no justice.
Let me change my setting. Okay, I'm ready.
You should have wore a turban.
Yeah. I should have. I'm missing it.
It's the bun. It's the bun.
Right. All right. Did you hear about the rose that grew from a crack in the concrete? Proving nature's laws is wrong. It learned to walk without having feet. Funny it seems, but by keeping its dreams, it learned to breathe fresh air. Long live the rose that grew from the concrete when no one else ever cared.
Yes, Amber, there you go. Woo, girl.
There you go, Maya. My husband. I love him so much. And so, yes, he does. Thank you.
He love you, though?
For all black women. Thank you. Okay, so now we're going to get into our actual guest, Mr. David Lucas. Can I tell y'all a little bit about Mr. David? I said I wasn't going to do it, but I just want to give you just a little tidbit about who he is. First off, he the bomb. So let's go ahead and just start there. So we have Mr. David E. Lucas. He is a critically acclaimed author, world-renowned speaker, educator, and minister. Let me start that again. Educator and minister. That's, two sides of the same coin in my mind. So David has taken the world by storm. Talking about his learning disability. He has a creative style, high energy, and he continues to impact tens of millions of people around the world. And he is just doing it well, y'all. So, through his significant social media presence, he has, in his recent Don't Stop Believing conference, he has become a global phenomenon. And guess what? Brown Liquor has him on the show today. And guess what he's about to do? He's about to tell us some more good stuff. So listen, y'all are really in for a treat. Please give him your undivided attention. And I'm going to let Mr. David E. Lucas tell us about himself.
Okay, Lisa, Lord.
Bring it on, Mr. Lucas.
Well, hey, ladies, how y'all doing? Listen, I'm so excited to be on you all's show again. Thank you all. You all are so beautiful. Thank y'all so.
He's passing that compliment,
y'all. Listen. Thank y'all again. I'm actually from a small city in South Carolina, and that is also called Darlington, South Carolina. I am a young man. I am very young man. And I won't tell you my age because I feel like every time I say my age, people are like, huh? Really? Yeah, so I'm a small young man. And yeah, you'll know more information about me throughout the show because I ain't going to spill the beans too quick, so we'll go for
that. Okay.
All right, Mr. Lucas.
So what are we talking about today, Amber? Tell them what we're talking about because I feel like, Amber is the best.
I can speak.
Sometimes.
Hey, Miss Cooper.
Oh, my Lord.
Hey, don't call me that. It's going to bring something out, all right?
They're gonna put us on the air. Okay, look, Miss Amber, I thought you would be the most amazing person to guide this show. So please
Yes.
tell
Thank
us,
you so much. All
tell us
right.
what we talking about today.
All right. So this episode will highlight being black in the education system.
Come on.
We will share our unique experiences because all of us have shared different journeys in education, from birth all the way to where we are now. And to help us speak on this topic, of course, we're going to have Mr. David E. Lucas speaks, give us his personal journey as well. But we just want to highlight, how is it being black in the education system? All right. And to start it off, Mr. David, I know we read a little bit of a bio about you. And now we want to kind of give you the opportunity to share in more detail your journey through education from the beginning to kind of where you are now.
Okay, yeah. Well, let me first say, where I'm at now is not by accident, at all. Like, I feel like where I'm at right now is at a good place, where I can be able to tell many people around the world what I've done and how I overcome as well. But man, was put in special classrooms, couldn't read and write on grade level. And y'all, listen, that at one point, and I'm gonna deal with that. At one point in my life, I really didn't feel comfortable even saying that because I felt like, okay, why would I want to tell people that? Like, that's already to label myself. That's already to let people know that I had a problem, I had a disability, and I couldn't do something right. But I had to find comfortability in my own self because I understood that at the end of the day, only way that I can be better, and especially as psychiatrists, and most people that know psychiatrists, first thing they always tell you, and if you're in some type of rehabilitation center, they tell you first thing you have to do is what? Admit.
Mm-hmm.
So I had to first to admit the fact that I had a disability. I couldn't read and write in grade level. So that's what happened to me. I couldn't read and write in grade level. And to be honest, we have young men out there today that can barely read. Okay, y'all teachers, y'all agree with that, right? Teachers, y'all agree with that, right? Don't leave me by myself.
No,
okay?
no, you right.
They can barely read. Okay, and the thing is, and I kind of fault our community with that because it takes a house, it takes a village to raise a child. Mom and dad can't do it alone.
Right.
Okay, the teacher can't do it alone. And so, me growing up, I had my family, I had my parents there, but there was not a good village around me to help me and push me to get where I'm going. And so I had to find intermediate in my own self to find where I'm at. And so that me growing up had disability and couldn't read and write in grade level, I understood that I had to realize something that I had to first dealt with in me and see the reason why I had this problem. See the reason, because it didn't matter what my mama did, it didn't matter what my dad did, it didn't matter what mama said or what they said about me or what education said about me. I had to understand I had disability in my own self, and I did that. So throughout time, after I had those IEP meetings, which is called Individual Educational Plan, education out there, they mostly know what that means, IEP. I had a meeting that throughout my actual transitioning in middle school and in high school is around the same time of my birthday, and I never whoever came up with that crazy thing, which is really stupid. But anyways, times usually happen around their birthdays. And one day of that particular meeting, me being in my 10th grade year in high school, just to speed the story up, I began to start feeling uncomfortable because I started seeing my friends go out there and they used to go out, different things, different classrooms. They used to go and walk to lunch by themselves, and I had to walk in a line. Oh, y'all, I'm telling y'all my story. I had to walk in the line. I thought something was wrong with me. I was walking the line with other kids as well that did not do the things I did, and I felt like, and I had people picking on me saying that I'm slow. I had a quarter-sized head. Don't y'all laugh. I had somebody, say,
Y'all was all right till you said don't laugh.
I was fine till you said don't laugh.
something wrong with me, But then again, and I don't care what nobody says. People say words don't hurt, but let me tell you something. You hear them things over and over again, you start believing that thing.
But that's
that thing
power.
Becoming who you is.
That's power in the tongue.
And so I started believing that, y'all. And so it took one lady, and y'all, and I don't want to make this a sad moment, but this one lady, she told me, she said, Dave, she said, you can do anything you put your heart to and your mind to. And I remember that lady, like, she was sitting on the side of the road. Shout out to Mr. Kima Ketter. I know you're listening because you support everything I do. But she was sitting on the side of the actual, outside of the actual high school. And she said to me, she said, David, she said, you're not supposed to be here. She said, and anybody know me, I'm very religious. So I catch a feeling, I get the Holy Ghost real fast. I'm apostolic, by the way, y'all should know that. But she said, David, you should know, that God's called you for better and bigger and all this and like this stuff. And that thing touched me because it ain't the fact that my parents didn't say it, but it's a difference when you hear from somebody else. You ever got a word from somebody else? Somebody else, you hear from your mama all day, you hear from dad all day, or you hear from somebody else. That touch a different level, right? That touch a whole other level.
Yeah.
So she said, David, you can do it. And so my 10th grade year and my 11th grade year in high school, I said, you know what, I have to do something. So what I did, I said, you know what, how can I get special encouragement? And they were saying, David, you already know. Y'all, let me tell you something. It wasn't that the person was black that told me. The person that told me she was a Caucasian person, the lady. She said, David, she said, it is unheard of. She said, let me tell you something. You know good and well you're going to special needs classrooms. She responded going, forget it. Okay, y'all didn't hear that. So mother should be mad right now, okay? Because she said, forget it. She said, don't even worry about it. She said, you ain't even going to get out of special ed classroom. You already in the 10th grade, about 11th grade, 12th grade, you about, because she's gone. So even if you even trying to do it. So I started to think, I said, you know what? I can't even do it. I can't even necessarily graduate. I can't even necessarily graduate and get a degree because I understand that I'm not going to be able to necessarily graduate with a degree because I'm going to actually get a certificate, say I completed for 12 years. And so that thing dealt up with me. And so what I did was I said, you know what? I got to tell them people something. I got to show people, I can do it. I'm tired of my friends laughing at me. I'm tired of people saying I wasn't going to be nothing. I'm tired of people calling me quarter-size head. I'm tired of people saying I wasn't going to do anything. I just got sick of that.
Yeah.
Okay? And so what I did was, y'all, and I'm going to shut up and we're going to go with the show. But what I did was I literally realized that I had to do something. And guess what I did? I took out a special needs classroom. And what I did was I changed the whole system of my school district because not only that I took a special needs classroom, but I was the first African American person in that particular in my particular family. And whenever I go to, I took a special needs classroom and went to regular mainstream classrooms. And not only that, y'all, but I began to write a book. Even in my 10th grade year, y'all, listen. Yeah. In my 10th grade, I began to write a book, and that book has changed many people around the world. And its title is Dark Like a Sister Light, talking about how I felt being in special needs classroom, how embarrassed I felt, how people picked on me, I've been talking about me. But then again, at the end of the story, it talks about how I graduated with a high school diploma. And not only that, as I graduated that particular school, they honored me. Mm-hmm. They honored me in front of millions of people around the world, telling people that, this young man changed the system. He had changed what people said about him. And I said, I got the 2017 Hart Falcon Award of my particular high school. And I began to write my first book and publish my first book as a senior at that high school with a learning disability. I graduated with a 4.0 GPA, as my high school diploma, and I went to college. And can I tell you all something? I didn't have to not pay any dime of going to college. Many people are in debt now to be able to get a 4-year degree, but I have not had to go in no type of debt to be able to go to college of my dreams. And that illustrious college university, and I know y'all is going to be hating, which I do not care, is Claflin University, the best and the most awesome, crazy HBCU school is Claflin University.
The best, you said? The best?
The best. HBCU.
I'm gonna let you have it.
Okay, one of the top HBCUs and one of the 4 founding HBCUs is Claflin University, where we make visionary leaders. And y'all can hate later. You can say what
it
you
sounds like you making up your own statistics at this point.
Oh no! Oh, trust me, it's true. I can back everything up because guess what? They made me.
This is your moment. Shout out to all my classmates out there listening. This one is for you. After this show, don't come to me because you're not getting any props. But all right. But no, I'm excited to hear all of that, David, because you really spoke a lot about a lot about our system, the education system, through your own personal journey. Make it brief, Miss Ray, because we know you like to talk. We'll start Adalia first. We'll leave her last. Go ahead.
Who going first, me or her?
Yes, the 5th and final.
The 5th and final. Hey y'all. Hey. Before I say anything, David, I did have a question for you. How old were you when you were diagnosed? I'm not sure what your diagnosis were, but how old are you? How old were you?
I want to say I was actually in the kindergarten. Do I remember the age of that? No, but I
Kindergarten
know I
age
was in
is
About
kindergarten.
5
5.
or 6.
Yeah.
That's
I was in
really
kindergarten. I was put in special needs class in kindergarten.
Okay. So, because what I do now is, well, technically my title is a clinical manager, and I do diagnosis of behavioral health disorders in youth. Um, and that saddens me that you were diagnosed when you were like 5 to 6 years old. That I feel like that is such a disservice. We do get kids, and I think the youngest kid we have, maybe three or four,
yeah.
and
We have
it's
a
so
3-year-old
sad
on
to
our
me.
side.
Like that's so sad to me because at what point, and I don't know if I'm gonna say this correctly, but I'm just gonna say it. At what point do we as adults, parents, educators, anyone that has hands on in a youth's life, at what point is it just normal 5 to 6 year old behavior versus when there's something not socially acceptable? Because I don't want to say wrong, because I don't want to put a bad stigma on any diagnosis at all. I don't think, I mean, in your case, David, maybe you were mislabeled. Maybe you just didn't have the tools you needed to thrive. But in certain aspects, there are people who do suffer from different types of learning disabilities. And I don't want to take that from them. You know, if that's your story, then, you know, that's your story. You stand on it, you own that. And there's nothing wrong with that. It just really seems like you were really, really dealt a tough one. And that really hurts my heart, because when I get appointments with 5 and 6 year olds, if I can, I don't do a diagnosis. It's hard for me to do that, because once you diagnose someone with something, especially as young as that's kind of who they think that they are.
Right.
You know, you're kind of already labeling them. You're already telling them who they are. You're already giving limitations to them, and there's no limitation in life, and you should never start off with a 5-year-old and saying, okay, this is what's wrong with you. You need to spend your whole entire life trying to fix this issue.
Especially not a 5-year-old male. Like I said, because
Right.
boys are just wild anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So it makes it difficult.
With my job, we did a lot with graphing, and I know, anybody that work in behavior technician field, they know that this job is very big. Deal with graphic and making sure that kids are meeting different graph statements and stuff like this. We're making sure that they meet behavior aspect of things. That is what behavior technician jobs do. That's what we do. Okay, and so they will always question me, David. How can this child meet this in the graphic this well, and they only been with you for 2 or 3 weeks? Okay, and I all have to explain myself is that it's not about the program that we're giving the child. It's really about the self care. What you offering the child. What are you pouring in? Because let me tell you something. I don't treat my job as it's a job. Because what I do is I want to pour into somebody's life. I want to be, y'all, I'm not trying to preach y'all, but I'm telling you something. I want to be able to, when I touch somebody's child, that their life begin to transform. That they, that when things begin to happen to them, that things begin not only that they only excel, but then the mama begin to realize that my child does not have this addition or have this disability, but at the end of the day, my child is still learning. My child is doing great things. My child is actually don't really have a disability. And you know what? Can I tell you on something? Sometimes what people do is they label the child not because they have all the evidence, not because they have data to be able to prove it, but what they do is they label because they understand that if I get a check, I can survive.
Amen, baby. You took the words right out of my mouth. I've done similar work too. And then I think a lot of it too come from just like the miseducation of the parents. The parents are not educated enough to understand the diagnosis. So therefore, they let society and all of these people tell them what my child is or what my child can and cannot do. And the fact that they add an extra bonus, which is a check to it, is just, I don't know, for years it's been ongoing. But like I said, I know within the community where I'm from. You know what I'm saying? Oh, you can get a check, you can do this, you can do that. So therefore, these kids growing up, oh, mama said I can get a check, so I must have this. But like I said, a lot of it comes from just being miseducated about the diagnosis itself.
But let's talk about that, because I think that's going to stem back to kind of the topic of discussion. So we want to highlight what is it like being black in the education system? And so from me being an educator, I think that those types of experiences are kind of only unique to our black and brown children, right? And so with that being said, and Miss Ray, you've been an educator as well, so I don't want to answer this question. I want you to answer it, and probably I can chime in. But what do you think, or why do you think? Well, I guess some of us have already answered that, but about the mislabeling of black children, right? And so, do you think we allow, or the education system allows more grace to their white counterparts versus the black counterparts, and kind of speak a little bit on the labeling of black children in our education system?
Oh, I'm so excited that you asked me that question. So let's just take it back for a second, because what you've done is you've asked a very loaded question. Because okay, so I did teach in South Carolina, and while I was there, first, okay, so I'm with you, David. I'm not to say I'm just overly, I'm not just too spirit. I'm very spiritual. I think God is in everything that I do, every single thing that I do. And so when the school district that I taught in, it was so horrible. And I mean, it was horrible. And I'm saying that to say, it was many days I went home and I asked the Lord, like, why did you send me here? Why on earth did you send me to this place? Because I lived in Memphis when I started teaching. I got in a program called Teach for America. I was in law school, and I interned the first summer out of law school, and I ended up working with this older black lady, and I would be in her classroom, and I would just help with her kids. So I told her, she said, well, are you interested in teaching? I was just like, no, ma'am, that is not something that I want to do. And she said, she just kept on me, kept on me, kept on me. And so I took for America, and it just took off like that. And so when I ended up choosing where I could go, God sent me to South Carolina. Okay. And so, again, I'm back to where I'm just like, Lord, why did you send me here? And so what he was telling me was, he said, I wanted you to be able to see what was going on in these places that people don't think about. And so while I was there, I spent a lot of time with a predominantly black um, child population, and then a majority Caucasian um, teaching population. And what I saw was that a lot of times when teachers were disciplining students, um, the black kids, the black boys, they would discipline them as they're already a threat. That idea that they're already this threat is already ingrained. It's so ingrained in them that when they're disciplining these children, they don't have no grace for them.
Yes.
I worked there for 3 years, and the 3 years that I was there, I had literally written up 2 kids. And the only reason I wrote up those 2 kids was because I was forced to do so, because they was clowning in front of my boss. And then, you got to do your job when your boss around. But typically, that's a conversation. I pulled them outside the classroom and, look here, let me tell y'all something. What we not going to do is. And, I would have the quote unquote bad kids. They was like, oh, send them to Ray class. Send them to Miss Ray class. Miss Ray didn't have no problem with them kids, because you know what I did every single day when I got in that classroom with my kids? Good morning, y'all. Miss Ray, love you. How was y'all's
Yes.
day? We took 5 minutes out of every day, and we talked about what their day had been like. Because what I had learned was, throughout all of this, is that and that's what I said. Y'all hear me call them tiny humans. People forget that kids are humans and they have emotions and feelings and all types of stuff. Um, let me just talk really quickly about one thing. I had this one little boy, and I know when we were talking, David, we shared it, and I thought you was going in the same direction, but I had a little boy that slept in my class every day. Every day, y'all, this baby slept in my class. Do y'all hear me? And I felt myself getting aggravated, because let me tell y'all something. Y'all stand up in front of kids, you be teaching your heart out, you be sweating, and then they just be looking all over the classroom. You be like, why y'all not teaching? So anyway, this baby every day. And so finally the Lord put it on my heart to ask him why he put it on my heart to ask me why that baby was sleeping. And I walked to him one day and I said, baby, what's the deal? And I'm calling him baby because I don't, of course, I want to say his name. But I said, what's the deal? Why you coming to Miss Ray classroom sleeping every day? He
Yes.
said, Miss Ray,
Yes. Good.
and y'all, it still give me
Good.
chills and bring tears to my eyes to this day. He said, my mother's at home dying of cancer. He said, I sit up with her every single night. He said, because I'm afraid that she's going to choke on her own blood. And he said, and in the morning, because in Memphis, school started at 7:15. So he said, in the morning, because I don't want nobody to come get my sister. He said, I walk my sister to school. He said, then I walk myself to school. And then school gets out at 2:15. And he said, when I come to your class, he said, something just about some being in your class. He said, I just get so much calm. And he said, I just go to sleep every day. He said, Miss Ray, I don't mean to go to sleep, but I just go to sleep. He said, I just be so tired. And so he said, then after I get out of school, I go. He was pushing buggies and taking stuff out at Kroger. What is Mason doing? Oh, oh, and he was like he was pushing. I used to push buggies, and he would push buggies and take people's groceries out to the car, and they paid him under the table just so he could keep the lights on and stuff like that. And so I told him, I said, you know what, baby, what I'm gonna do for you is if you could do this for me, I'll make sure you pass this class. I said, if you could come here whenever you get time after school, because usually I didn't leave till about 4. I said, you passed this class. That baby showed up every single day, and he did his work. And guess what he got out of his Ray class? He passed that
A
class.
passing grade.
Yes, ma'am, he did. Because you know what that taught me was that these kids go through things that as an adult I have not even been through. I cannot imagine taking care of my dying mother. I could not imagine it. And then coming to school and having somebody yelling at you about 2 plus 2 and why you don't understand it equals 4. These kids go through things. And so to answer your question, Miss Amber, and to shut my mouth finally, I
I
think
told y'all
that
she talk a lot.
now, but I think that a white person is disciplining a white student, they see themselves. And that's why when I discipline my black kids, I was never apologetic about it. I'm telling you, when my kids used to show out and get in trouble, they get that little one phone call, they called my room like I was their mama. Do you understand me? Because I went down and I wouldn't apologize to nobody. I'm going to take up for my kids because it happened for the other set all day, every day. I don't care what I got to say or what I got to do. Because when I see that little boy, I see somebody with a future.
Yeah.
When I see that little girl, I see somebody with a future. And so, no, I'm not going to do nothing that's going to mar them, ruin them for the rest of their lives. Because believe it or not, referrals follow you. Because people know people outside of them school walls. And so, oh, she was hell in school. She was hell in school. So, you know, I'm not going to add to that. And if I can have a conversation with you, guess what? I'm going to have a conversation with you. And if I got to have 5 conversations with you, guess what? I'm going to have 5 conversations with you because you are not gonna fall by the wayside on my watch. And that's just how I was. And so to answer your question, they see themselves in those kids. And it's not enough of us black people in that school building to see
To advocate.
Yes.
You know what I'm saying? So it's harder for our kids to catch a break. We got to make these teachers fall in love with us, and when these white teachers fall in love with us, they fall in love with us because we're the exception.
Yes.
They don't love us all the way around. They don't love us all the way around. But when I see little baby girl over here with her little fast self, or you know, we think that girl just fast, and the other little kids, just quick example, you know, they talk about it. I said, but what y'all don't realize, that little girl been taking care of all her siblings.
Yes.
Oh yeah, she grown.
Yes.
She don't know how to turn it off. She got to come to school.
She don't know how to be a kid.
She got to come to school. When she go home, she feeding and taking, changing diapers and cooking dinner and doing all these things. So watch your mouth when you talk about her.
Yes.
You know?
That's one thing, like I said, that the schools just lack just people that's advocating for our kids.
They
Yes.
don't. And it's sad to see. And just to give this quick point, I promise I'm done.
You sure?
I promise. I had so many kids with IEPs, and y'all, I probably could get in a whole bunch of trouble for admitting this, but I promise you I didn't follow half them IEPs. You know why I didn't follow half them IEPs? Because some of them kids, once they realized that I wasn't going to let up on them, they did work better than the kids that didn't have IEPs, that didn't have nothing wrong with them. I was not going to sit here and give you 45 minutes to an hour, because you know what they did? They fed that addiction. Because sometimes kids...
And then sometimes it's just feeding the attention. You know, a lot of kids that have IEPs, and I'm just speaking based on my experience in general, and I'm not a teacher by any means. That is not my calling, trust me. But they don't get attention when they're not in school. So they have these IEPs and all these exceptions, and how they get to go to a special classroom, and they get to stay after class, and they get longer on their test and take. Yes, exactly. And you know, that's, to them, that attention is better than nothing at all. You know what I'm saying? It's like an all or nothing.
Miss Ray class, Miss Ray didn't play that. You better have that work. You better have that work. You better have it in early.
But sometimes that's what they want, the tough love. They want somebody to stay on them. They need somebody to stay on them.
Right.
And that's,
I had a kid that was in had a IEP.
I don't think I don't think what I'm trying to figure out how I want to say this. I don't think
Say
that a lot of you just hold up there, okay? I don't think that I think the issue with that situation is yes, we have some of those children who are kind of feeding into that, wanting to get that extra day or whatever it is because they're used to that system. But then we also have to question that system because my issue with it is that we are mislabeling a lot of black children.
That's what my point
And-
was.
Yeah, I mean, I get you. I'm bringing it home. I'm bringing it home.
bring it
I'm
on,
bringing it
break
home.
it on.
I'm bringing it home for you, okay? I got
But
you.
they goes
I got you. I want to make. I got you, girl. But yeah, my issue is I think because they are mislabeling our children, and because parents are just like Ushlin said, are uneducated about the system and about some of the things and the terms and the verbiage and all this. What does it mean to be on an IEP and all that kind of stuff? Like I have conversation with parents, and I'm just like, your child continues, just like David said, to 12th grade, and they're just going to get a certificate of completion, but they don't know that because they're not explained to that properly and adequately.
No, they are not.
And so
I had to do an IEP and a 504 plan for my master's program, and baby, I can barely understand it. And I have a degree.
Yeah.
So just imagine not being able
But
to just
see-
even break it down to the simplest terms.
But what I
It's-
used to do for my parents, I had a couple of parents that I know struggle with that. I would call them before their IEP meeting. I would go over everything with them. I would tell them exactly what they needed to know because after I had an experience.
Well, the districts need more Miss Rice because baby,
Well,
a lot of
I ain't that
districts
great
don't
because
go
I
through all
know
that.
sometimes in school, we
I think
use
you're
the
awesome.
whole lesson. But listen, I had a baby sitting there and I watched this mama start crying because she did not know how to advocate for her child. And it was a situation where the child had done something that was inappropriate. I give them that. But what happens is you have to have that manifestation meeting. And what that manifestation meeting says is that either this is a manifestation of their disability or this is something that they did and we're going to vote on it and basically we're going to either put them out of school or whatever's going to happen. So what that is ultimately is a CYA for the school. So the school is trying to get the responsibility off of them. And so I'm watching this mom trying to advocate for her son and advocate for herself, and she did not possess the vernacular or the intelligence, not in the sense that she was not a smart woman, but she did not know what she was talking about. She did not know. No one cared to explain this to her. And so from that meeting forward, when my kids would have IEP meetings, I knew their parents wanted to know. I would call their parents and say, "Look, you so and so got an IEP meeting coming up. This is what we're talking about. This is how they've been doing in my class." I go to my other teachers' class if I got the time, and I would talk to them. And I was like, "This is how they're doing. This is what you need to be asking for. This is what you can ask for, and you can make them do these things."
yeah, but
And then, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't want to interrupt you, but I love that because you're sharing that experience. But one thing that like I in preparing for today's topic and getting ready for the discussion, I literally sat there and thought, and I even thought about me going to school personally. When I think about me as a teacher, how many children we have that are in IEPs and how many of them are black?
So many.
But
The majority, and probably black male.
I have taught 6 years in the public education system. I had 2 white children that were classified as to have a learning disability.
Oh, but can I say something to that real quick, Amber? I'm not trying to jump in there. I'm sorry, Dane. Hold on now. But
we got to
listen,
listen,
though.
Talk too much, didn't I tell y'all?
Y'all listen, because I'm very passionate about that. But you know why you had 2? Because a lot of them white parents, when they find out their kids have a disability, they go and cash out. That's another conversation because we don't have the economic resources a lot of times to go get our kids first, second, and third opinions. You see what I'm saying? And so that's why their numbers are a lot lower, because when a child has a behavioral issue, we can get them an IEP. And that IEP gives that teacher leeway to not deal with that child in the way that they need to be dealt with. So if a parent don't agree with that, they go in and they're trying to find out about their kids. Whereas black people, we don't always have those resources and we don't know where to find those resources. So yeah, you got a bunch of black kids that are labeled as having disabilities, and that is completely inaccurate. And I'm done talking. That's it.
Yeah, they label all black males ADHD.
All
From kindergarten on
black,
up. Look,
all black
just about.
children who are behaving in a manner that is, and I'm gonna put quotes around this, not normal, or overactive. I promise you, the first thing, I'm part of these conversations, is just like, we need to get this baby on a plan, and I'm just like, why? Like, what research, what evidence do you have? Like, this is just a boy who is clearly overactive. Okay, why? Why do we assume it's automatically a learning disability? Or we automatically need to put him in a special education setting? We need to figure out what's going on. Maybe he just had too much sugar this morning. I don't know. But we need to figure out something. It's not always just this whole drastic end of the spectrum about it. But go ahead, Adalia. I know you've been trying to talk about it.
She has.
I was just saying, y'all got me scratching my forehead because y'all are from the education system. So I got to come in here and I got to represent us folks that, do these diagnoses. Okay. Like, y'all got to hold up for a minute. All right.
Well, you better bring
because we use our evidence-based tactics and we come correct. Kid coming, and I can't speak for everybody. I'm going to speak for myself and how I conduct myself behind my closed doors. Sometimes I've had instances where parents have came into my office and they're like, well, he has ADHD and he's got autism. I'm like, who diagnosed that? Where'd you find that? And there's no proven diagnosis of anything. You have some parents who want to educate themselves and figure out what they can do. They want to find a solution. They want to cultivate solutions. You got other parents that just really don't want to parent. And I know that is such a broad spectrum, and that's probably a whole different conversation. And David, I'm sorry, because we're really getting off track here. Mm-hmm. But you also have some parents who just don't want to deal with their child, and they want to have excuses about why their child is not obeying or why their child is, and I'm using air quotes, out of parental control. How can your child be out of your parental control if you're being consistent?
That is
a lot of
a whole different conversation because, again,
it is.
Parents, it's just history repeating itself. They didn't have parents, so they don't know how to parent, so it's just going to be a continuous cycle.
Right. People say if the best way to hide something from black people is to put it in a book, because the black community, and we're just speaking in general, right? But the black community, they won't pick up, quote, and I put this in air quotes, they don't pick up a book to read. Like, we're in our phones looking at social media. If you're listening, I'm not saying it's true about you, but I'm just talking about what is the meaning behind that quote. So we're so engaged with, TV and media and social media and all that kind of stuff, but the physical act, and most in general, for black people to pick up the book is not seen. That's just what they say. It's not seen. And it's just so crazy to me because, and when David said that, that's one of the things that I always share with my students. Me being a teacher, like, yes, you should see some things, but you also got to pick up a book, read, and gain knowledge for yourself. So David, you talked a little bit about your journey, right? So you talked about your obstacles, of being in special education and trying to get out of it. Can you highlight briefly how were you able to overcome those challenges? So I know you talked about the obstacles that you faced, but like literally walk through us, like how were you able to say, you know what, this is the problem for me, and this is how I, as a black, male student, is going to overcome those challenges.
Well, like I said earlier, I first admitted it. And after I did that, I had to figure out what do I do from here. Yeah, it's funny because I read a book, and this is so crazy. Martha King said, "Where do we go from here?" And it's actually my theme for my conference that's coming up, which is August 1st. Where do we go from here? But anyways, next story today. But
plug yourself, David.
Yeah, and I'm gonna ask you a question though. But where do we go from here? When you have education like this, what do you tell your child? But in next conversation, so I really had to first admit. Second thing I had to do is I had to literally go to summer school. I had to meet with my teachers. I had to meet, each and every one, even the one that did not like me, I had to meet with her. Okay? Even the one that put me in there, I still had to meet with her because you know what? I didn't care about my feelings at that point. I really wanted to graduate with a high school diploma, y'all. And the thing is, nobody really told me I wanted to get a high school diploma. I had to read it and find out my own self.
Yeah, I was getting ready to ask you that question because you and I've never had to do. I've been in IEP meetings as like the mental health person, but how did you find out that you were on the path to just get an attendance certificate?
Well, because I was done by a long shot.
Right.
So just because, let me tell you something, just because you think because a child have an IEP or because they don't mean that they don't have to do research and that nobody ain't talking to their ear. You know, one thing about people is that it's not that I don't think that kids don't know. It's just a thing about, do they have enough confidence to say, you know what, I'm just going to do this. And so that is what I had. I had enough confidence. Let me tell you something. You can tell a child not to touch that stove all you want.
Come on. You better say it, James. Go on and say it.
But until the child had a made up mind to believe, you know what, I ain't going to touch that stove. I ain't going to touch it.
I was about to say.
Because let's be honest, us growing up, and I'm back on conversation. Us growing up, and let's be honest, y'all, we didn't have the perfect life. Because there's just some things in life that we didn't want to go through. But guess what? It made us better. Okay?
Yeah, come on.
What don't kill you only makes you stronger.
I am so grateful, y'all, that I took a chance to say, you know what? I'm just going to study a little bit harder. I went to summer school, y'all. I met with teachers after school. I met with them during school. And even I also had an academic coach, you know, where they even have, you know, when you take a test, and you test with them and whatnot, like that as well. I still was doing extra work in that classroom to get better. Okay? And I did that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think it's not that kids don't have the knowledge to be able to be successful. Can I give y'all some good news? The reason why kids don't do it is because they don't even have the chance to do it.
Yes.
You don't give them an opportunity to be successful.
Come on.
You don't open the door for them to be able to be great. You don't be able to say, you know what can I do to make you come out of this right here? You know what, y'all? It reminds me, and I promise you I'm going to be quiet, but it reminds me, as me sitting in that classroom, I wish somebody told me, you know what, David? You know, David, you can do it. I wish somebody told me, you know what, David? You got an IEP and you won't be able to graduate high school. I wish somebody told me, you know, that, you know what, David, that, you know, if you do this, and this. But nobody told me that. And I was around Caucasian people. Mm-hmm. I was around black people, you know. But nobody ever took a chance to say, you know what, there's something different about it.
Yep.
You know, nobody took a chance to say, you know what, David, you know, if you don't test out of here, you won't be this. Because can I tell you all something? Mm-hmm. I don't care. There's children right now that if they graduate high school with a certificate, with an IEP, you know, a lot of times these even teachers, and I've seen it. I've seen teachers don't even tell their child that you can't go to college. They will follow right along with that conversation, but never tell that child that you're gonna be able to go to that college. So you know you're gonna be able to be successful with that certificate. You ain't gonna be able to go to that college because you tell you something. Those kids, they doing other kids, and they be like, "Oh, I'm going to my dream college," and no kids start thinking they can go to those colleges.
Mm-hmm. That is so true, but that's also an aspect of like if kids want to go to the military, they can't do that either. There's a lot of kids that want to follow in their parents and grandparents' footsteps, and they want to go to the military. Not without a high school diploma.
But let me say this. But you know what? I kind of realized this, and I say this humbly, y'all. We as a whole, not just teachers, got to do better. I challenge people.
Because I was going to ask you, did your parents encourage you to do better as well, or was you just dependent on the education system itself?
It takes let me tell you something. I heard my grandma say this. She said it takes a village to raise a child. And that stuff is true, y'all.
It's so true.
A teacher can't
take more than just a set of parents.
Yeah. A teacher just can't just teach for the couple of hours they have that child with, and not the parent don't teach the child at home. It don't work.
Let them know. Come on.
So it takes a village to raise and to cultivate that child to where they should be. And yeah, my parents was there for me to be able to get where I'm at today, but not many kids have the opportunity to be able to have their parents or their mom there to challenge them to be great or to be successful. So it really takes and I'm not trying to cut you off, but it really takes a village to raise a child. And I don't blame just education because many years we always say the teachers. No. What you doing as a parent? Because a lot of times what you do is we just go home, shut the door. And I've seen parents, they'll go home, shut the door, go to sleep, forget about the child had homework, forget about the child necessarily had to study over their work, forget about all of that. But wonder why their child ain't successful. Wonder why their child ain't passing their grades. Wonder why their child acted up in class. Because guess what? You as a parent didn't spend no time with your child. You never took time to be able to say, Johnny, what you did, how you feel today. And a lot of times those kids, they go through so much at home because their mom and dad are going through divorce and everything much is going on happening around them. They feel like they is a failure. They feel like they ain't gonna be nothing because they hear so much around them at home. So guess what? I believe I ain't gonna be nothing. And so we have to really change the language, number one. And number two, we have to change our whole family structure, how we do things. Because it takes a whole village to raise a
Now,
child.
It's funny that you said that.
I got a
today.
lot.
Amber.
Oh, Shalana.
It's funny that you say that too, because like I said, I had a parent at home, but again, nobody was encouraging me to be better. I myself wanted to be better than the people around me. You know what I'm saying? So it really do take a village and a little self-motivation. Because again, like I said, nobody was saying, oh girl, you need to go to college, you need to do this, you need to do that. Oh, they was content with me staying at home.
Right.
They were content with me just being mediocre. But let me tell you what,
Been doing
I
Come on,
wasn't
Jesus.
born to be mediocre, David.
Come on.
Come on,
Amen.
Jesus.
I'm
Yes.
born for greatness. Understand me? So that's
Speak, 'cause you
again, that's
speak.
why I push my kids to be better than I am. You know what I'm saying? Or be better than the person next to you.
Mm-hmm.
Because like I said,
Right.
growing up, I didn't have that. I didn't get to experience that. So you got to let them know, Dave. Let them know, Dave.
Right.
Talk to
But
them.
I'm gonna let you speak, but let me say this one last thing.
Amber, you just said last. I thought you wanted to be last first.
She didn't say that.
Listen, y'all. Listen, but I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna let you talk, Amber. Listen, but I preach a message this Sunday, y'all, which is entitled "Who is Your Daddy?" Okay, and
You know where he is, because he been coming and he so
My daddy is
Yeah.
absolutely amazing. I just saw him this past weekend.
Listen.
Hey, daddy.
but what it's not the natural daddy. What I was talking about, I really was talking about the spiritual daddy.
Right.
Okay,
Right.
but
We
in
went.
the text, it talks about the fact that you are God's offspring. Okay, and so, and I like how you said it earlier. You said because you want your child to do better than you.
I want to tell
one
them every
thing
day,
I
be better
mentioned-
than me. Be better than we were yesterday.
Yep.
Don't settle to be like me.
What I mentioned to the people on today was, I said, you know what? As God being the father of who you are, and you his offspring, he wants you to do better than what he had to suffer on the cross for you. Okay?
Come on,
So,
David.
I'm not telling how to preach, Amber. I promise you're going to get me later, but I'm going to say this anyway.
She okay.
I am at a place in life now that, and parents should be at a place where they're at right now, is that you don't just only want your child to do better than you, but you want your child to, whenever they be successful, that they reach back and say, you know what, Mama, thank you. Thank you, Dad, for investing in me. Thank you, because that's what Jesus did. That's like what God did, because you know what? He went back to God. He said, you know what, God, thank you for giving me the opportunity to be able to serve your people and to sacrifice. And listen, God, I'm telling you, I don't care nobody else, and I know this ain't religion particular broadcast, but I'm Holy Ghost filled, and I don't care.
believe in
Listen,
God.
I believe one thing about God is God took his only begotten son and saved us, and took his only son and died for us. And you talking about somebody to sit there and you talking about he did all of that for us? Yes. And so that's what I believe that we should do with our kids, because you are the offspring, because your child, the offspring of you, you should want them to do better. You should want your child to be successful. You should want your child to be great, because you know what? Sometimes I be like, sometimes I be like, why is sometimes parents, why is sometimes people so selfish? Because you ain't got nothing. You don't want your child to not have nothing.
Jealousy is the devil. Jealousy is the devil. That is jealousy. That is jealousy. That is
Come on,
jealousy.
babe.
That's little crabs in the damn bucket.
I don't even know what we talking
Go
about.
on, Amber. Go on, girl.
I don't even know what we talking
Go.
about. We just We got to come up with a new topic. You know, I
So, I have one question. I'm so sorry. I know that was supposed to be the final, stretch across the, the final lunge.
just keep
Okay, David, what is your why?
What's my why? I'm glad you asked. You know what my why is?
going. Ready.
My why is that because I went through all that hell, I got to be successful.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Because I was the outsider, because I was the one to be able to graduate, okay, with a high school diploma and with the college of debt free, I understood that, guess what, that I had to change. When I see let me tell you something, y'all, it blessed my soul when I saw somebody in my neighborhood that had autism, and for them to be able to talk, because, autism kids, they get really anxious, they get sick of people trying to talk them over them, they get really upset with that because, there's so much going on. You can tell we're autism kids, so I know. Okay, so but it made me feel good that I can be able to look at somebody's child and say, you know what, I may not have autism, but I was once labeled, and I know how it feels. So I understood that my why was more than just me. When I can see kids, and I can be able to say, you know what, I was once. Let me tell you something, y'all. I don't care what nobody say. But if you never had an IEP and you couldn't read around grade level and you couldn't necessarily people call you out your names, you don't know how that feels. So I'm tired of people saying, oh, I understand. The hell you don't understand. You don't know how it feels.
You can empathize, but you ain't in my shoes. Yeah.
You don't know how it feels. So until you can know how it feels, I hate people say, I understand. No, you don't understand. Because you won't realize that they've been plenty nights I want to cry myself to sleep and tell God why I got to be here. They've been plenty of nights I want to say, why should I be on earth? Because if I got to be able to get a high school, get a certificate and know I can't go to college. See, y'all, we talk about all that behind the closed door, but there's some kids that cry themselves to sleep at night and wonder why, because they know that they're in their 12th grade year about to graduate with a certificate and don't realize they won't be able to be successful. And you wonder why those kids be drops out. You wonder why they sell drugs. Y'all know. You wonder why those kids that necessarily don't be able to be nothing, because they understand at the end of the day, I've already was an outsider. I already was going to be somebody who was going to be nothing anyway. So I might as well just go ahead and do everything in the sun of the gun, because I already know I ain't going to be nothing. And guess what? I might as well do what I'm going to do anyway. I might as well sell drugs, because guess what? Nobody else believes in me. Nobody else at times believes. So you know what, David? You can do it. You can be successful. So that is my why.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing that with us. That's awesome.
So I think
You are amazing.
Yes,
David, can we get you to tell us the title of your book, your first book, one more time?
Yes. So my first book is I have 3, but my first book is called "It's Dark, but I Can Still See the Light." Okay.
Okay.
And my second
Dark,
book is
but I Can Still See the Light. Correct?
yes.
Okay.
And my second book is "Destiny is Calling My Name." I said one time, y'all, I like that title of the book. Destiny is Calling My Name. And the third and final book that's going to be coming out very soon is actually called "Stop Calling Me Names."
Okay. And where can we find out all of these books?
On my website, www.davidelucasspeaks.com. Don't do that. www.davidelucasspeaks.com.
Okay.
That's awesome. And y'all can find my first book on y'all don't want me to
No,
It's okay.
It's okay, Amber.
I mean,
But let me stop fronting on you, Amber, because the day you write a book, baby, I'm gonna read it.
I'm
and
gonna
read
read it. Yes, sir. I'm supporting.
It's gonna be in my little library, because regardless of what people say, Black people do read. I have
we do read.
And it's like my first hobby. I love reading, y'all. So whenever y'all, I love to read. So whenever you write that book, baby, I'm waiting on you. I hate on you about a bunch of other stuff, but if you write a book, baby, I'm on that. I'm on
okay.
We're gonna talk about you. We're gonna talk about you, but we're gonna support.
Listen, all 4 of my sales gonna come from y'all, so I'm appreciative of it.
No, I'm gonna buy more than 4. I'm gonna cash out.
I'm gonna
cash out on you, Amber. I'm gonna buy like 40 copies.
And then we just gonna start passing
Everybody
it out to
get a
people.
book.
They gonna get that book. Okay?
They gonna get that book. They don't get no other book.
You gonna 50 cent my book. You just gonna buy all the copies, so nobody else can get it. Nobody else gonna read that book because I got all 70 copies, right? That's so disrespectful. But
together. Let's go.
Anyways, I want to thank you guys for tuning in. I want to leave you with this message, kind of just to wrap up what David said. Be careful what you label your children, our children, because one day they just might believe it. And we want to encourage them to be
Wow.
amazing and powerful beyond their own greatest measures in their own
Wow.
sight, and challenge them to be the best individuals that they can be in society. So let's be careful about how we speak to our children and about our children. We thank y'all for listening. We love y'all. We hope to see you in the next episode. Until then, we'll see you later. Thank you guys. Peace out.
Bye.